What happened with Adrien W Janowski? Who knocked out Adrien W Janowski? I'm arguing that it's Pat McAfee, that he's Rocky Balboa. And, this is no Adrien. But we had this whole discussion. Is it yo Adrien? Would that remind you of Rocky? And if I changed it to no, would that? But regardless, the conversation we're about to, this is why you're lucky to have me. I have so much life experience, journalism experience at Fox Sports, at ESPN. I'm the only person perfectly positioned and with the balls to explain to you why Adrien W Janowski is no longer at ESPN and to talk to you about the civil unrest, the civil war, the battle that's going on inside of ESPN. I can put it all in context. Steve Kim will join me. Obviously, he used to work at ESPN as well. We love talking about these media squabbles. We want to give you the extra layer on what happened here but with Adrien W Janowski and ESPN. So that's where I'm going. He's left ESPN to rejoin St. Bonaventure to help their basketball team. Now in college sports, the major sports, they have general managers because of name, image, and likeness and all the different financial ties and everything. But there are layers to this, and there's a fight going on at ESPN about the future of ESPN. Adrien W Janowski represents the old school journalist side of ESPN. He's on that team. Pat McAfee is on the YouTuber, influencer, social media, personality side of ESPN. And Pat McAfee is the person winning the war at ESPN. And he's won it in a knockout. When you take out Adrien W Janowski the way Pat McAfee has, and Pat McAfee, maybe he's watching this, he'll hear about it, and he'll say, what do you mean? I didn't do anything to Adrien W Janowski. And people are like, hold on, man. You champion Shams Charania, Adrien W Janowski's #1 rival. You championed him and had him on your show. You weren't a team player as it related to Adrien W Janowski and a guy that ESPN was paying $8-9 million a year. Pat McAfee would have Shams on, Adrian's direct competitor. Pat McAfee is the ultimate disruptor. And we're watching a sea change at ESPN, and we're watching the culmination of a 15, 20-year civil war inside of ESPN. Because I want to take you back and give you the history. Because in my view, Pat McAfee is the king of ESPN media. He has won. Others lost their lives or went down in this battle before him so that Pat McAfee could win. So let me give you a tiny bit of history in terms of insight, just history and insight of what goes on behind the scenes of a major media company like an ESPN, one of the largest brands in American history, the worldwide leader in sports. The battle between Pat McAfee and the journalist group, and Stephen A. kind of plays both sides of this, and so he's the general of the opposition. Stephen A. Smith is. Stephen A. Smith started out in the newspaper industry. He's aligned himself with people like Mike Wilbon and others. And again, Stephen A. Smith is a bad journalist. Much of his journalism career, he's a prop, he's been installed, but he fashions himself as some kind of old school journalist who came up through the ranks and paid his dues and earned his stripes and has the right to be the face of ESPN and the highest paid employee of ESPN. But there are levels to this. And so there's money, and then there's power and influence. And what ends up happening is some people understand that the money is important, but power and influence are more important because you'll make money longer if you have the power and influence. You might make more money by sacrificing power and influence. And so Stephen A. Smith in this scenario, he's willing, or they think the bet they're playing with Stephen A. Smith and the way they handle Stephen A. Smith is, we'll give you the money, we'll satiate your ego, but the power and influence, it's not yours to have. We made you. You're nothing without us. We decided to make you the face of this. There were far more talented, more accomplished, more qualified people. We installed you. Here's the check. Now go away. You have the check. Your ego satisfied. Go on your show and brag to everybody about how you're making $20 million a year and Pat McAfee's only making $18 million a year. There's Stephen A. Pat him on the head, pat him on the butt, send him on along his way. He's harmless. I'm just telling you the way ESPN thinks. And I know some of you are like, hey, Whitlock is just taking another pot shot at Stephen A. Smith. I'm not. I'm giving you the facts. I'm giving you an understanding of why ESPN makes the decisions. Bob Iger and Disney make the decisions that they make. And this isn't me playing the race card. This is me telling you the facts of what lanes have been carved out for different demographics by leftists, by people like Bob Iger, the shot caller at Disney. And we know what tribe he's a part of. And there's a lane that has been carved out for black men in the entertainment industry. It's a minstrel show. You yuck it up, you buffoon it up, we'll give you the check, but the power and influence are reserved for others.